Primarily, gardens have to be practical. And in this instance, this back garden doubled up as also the place where the car was parked. So we need to solve the practical issues. We need to have space for the cars and getting to and fro, but we also need it to be a garden also. So how do we do that? Well, essentially, we need to work out the space that we have to use, but then we fit this into the garden and not the garden around the space left for the cars. Initially, then, we have to work out what are the essential spaces that we have to use for parking, what can go, and what space we need to walk around in because we have to access the cars. We have to get in and out of the doors. We have to get shopping in. So we need to understand how we're going to use this space and then what we can do to create the garden. Now, here we've got this sort of open space, but the views from the house are always straight onto where the cars are parking. So we need something that will block this view with something more attractive. Then actually out of the back door, the view down the garden again has nothing. It's just the space we haven't parked. But now we need to make this a better, more functioning, more beautiful space. And it is all about what do we see? What do we want to see? How are we going to walk around the space? What do we want to do in this particular space? The starting element then is understanding how this area, this garden, is going to be used. There has to be parking for up to 3 cars, and we have to get in and out of these cars easily. So your route through the garden has to be mapped out. We need to understand what we do because we're never going to change those simple, easy routes from the car to the back door or the patio door. So the garden has to work around it. Then once we've looked at that, we can identify the spaces that we are not going to need to use as a person walking to and from. And from that, we can then begin to realize how we could use this garden. In this case here, we can try and walk around the spaces that we want to have as a garden because this will help us feel as though the garden is more important than the cars, while still maintaining access. So as you can see here, what I've created is there were some vegetable beds she wanted to create. So these are sort of in the simplest, most accessible places. The cars now we have direct routes from the door past borders that we can walk around so that we can still use this garden effectively. And in fact, you could also put a little path in between the largest border that gives you a space to walk through. If I now draw this in, we've then coordinated the colours so that the new garage and the raised beds begin to feel joined together. But we've put vertical height in using some tall obelisks and tall narrow plants because again we have to hide the cars. But what we don't want to do is hide the cars behind great big structures because it will make the garden feel more enclosed. The routes that we would always have taken from car to house are maintained. But now, instead of just walking past and over on a gravel drive, we actually have garden space that we walk past. So in that sense, the garden has become more important than the car parking space, and we've created and delivered a design that works. If you'd like some specific design advice or help for your garden, we offer a brilliant video consultation service. Simply book your call at plantplots.com, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.